1962. Two men are exploring the caves of Big Bend National Park.
Oh, I found something.
They come across a tablet with mysterious inscriptions. Could it be proof the park was home to otherworldly visitors?
The symbols on the tablets closely match the symbols taken from a crashed spacecraft.
Big Bend National Park, Texas. 800,000 acres of desolate canyons, mountains, and desert. This is one of America's least visited national parks, where someone can travel a whole day without seeing another human being. But some believe that Big Bend's vast and empty spaces conceal inexplicable and unpredictable forces. Forces so powerful, they pose a threat to our most advanced weapons. July 11th, 1970. An Athena missile lifts off from the Green River complex in Utah. As it accelerates into the upper atmosphere, the missile is working perfectly until it hits the airspace over Big Bend National Park. Then, all of a sudden, onboard systems begin to fail. Inexplicably, all communication is lost with the missile.
And it started descending at a very rapid pace toward Big Bend area. The only thing they could do was watch in horror on their radar screens as the missile fell like a flash into northern Mexico.
Out of control, the 16,000-pound missile plummets to the ground and disintegrates. What caused the missile to experience a catastrophic failure over Big Bend National Park is a total mystery.
It created quite an international incident between the United States and Mexico. So Henry Kissinger had to go to the Mexicans and say, "Can you help us find it?"
The Army sends a team to locate the impact area.
There was panic. They wanted to get to the location as quickly as possible and assess what kind of damage had taken place there.
This is the heart of the Chihuahuan Desert, some of the most desolate territory in Mexico. The soldiers are unable to locate the wreckage, but when they attempt to report back to base,
Comandante, no hay comunicación.
Suddenly, the radios stopped working.
Comandante, aquí está, oiga.
They lost communication with each other.
And not only that, in trying to navigate around this vast, empty desert, they could no longer use their compasses because their compasses were spinning wildly. They were not showing true north. And so they were in the middle of the desert without guidance, without communications, trying to get to the location of the missile crash as quickly as possible.
what could possibly explain the failure of the soldiers' radios and compass? Is there a connection with the malfunctioning missile? There have been many other reports of unusual electrical interference in the region.
It's an area that's been known throughout history for having massive levels of interference with all kinds of electronic systems, from planes flying overhead, the instruments on board the aircraft will suddenly go haywire, navigation systems, as well as radio communications.
Because no radio signal penetrates here, the area is called the Zone of Silence. The term was first coined in the 1930s by the legendary Mexican aviator Francisco Sarabia, who reported losing all radio communication while flying over the park. Other strange phenomena have been observed in the area where Big Bend National Park is located. Since the mid-19th century, farmers have reported bizarre precipitation, searing hot stones falling from the sky.
These sizzling chunks of rock that come out of the sky, and they impact everything in sight in this area. We have heard reports of roofs being damaged, of livestock out in the fields being struck and seriously hurt or killed by these flaming chunks of rock.
This region is one of the most active meteorite sites in the world. Micrometeorites fall here almost daily. Small metallic orbs, the locals call guijolas.
In the zone of silence, it seems that things that are coming out of orbit tend to land there, maybe because of the extra gravitational pull.
Many believe the area's unique electromagnetic properties are so powerful that the ground acts like a huge magnet, attracting objects from above. If true, could it also explain another strange mystery in the area? 2003. Charlotte Tier lives in Terlingua, a small town on the edge of Big Bend National Park. It is an otherwise ordinary evening, but one she will never forget.
I saw something that caught my eye. And I went outside, stepped off the porch, and I could see these lights where there should not be lights.
Mesmerized, Charlotte moves towards these mysterious glowing orbs, as if drawn by some inexplicable force.
Kind of bouncing along and moving fast in one direction and then stopping quickly and moving up and down some. And one of them went up, and this one kind of went this way. They had kind of split, sort of greenish looking, and this one was a little bit reddish looking.
This is not the first report of mysterious illuminations in the sky over Big Bend. For hundreds of years, Native Americans and early settlers have witnessed similar events. Many have tried to offer explanations, but no one has been able to solve the riddle of the lights.
These are not the headlights of cars. These are not geothermal or geologic energy. This is something beyond the realm of our understanding.
I've heard so many different explanations, but none of them are actual proof that it is what this is. We all have to make up our own mind. I don't know what it is.
What could explain these mysterious lights over Big Bend National Park? Is the answer connected to the park's electromagnetic properties? Or is there a more sinister explanation?
¿De dónde mero vienen ustedes?
He could sense their thoughts before they would even say anything. They were communicating directly with Lewis via telepathy.
Big Bend National Park, located within a vast and arid landscape in the heart of the Chihuahuan Desert, where it's claimed mysterious electromagnetic interference with radio waves causes catastrophic failures. But there are mysteries in Big Bend that have no clear explanation, and encounters that hint at forces difficult to comprehend. November 1978, in the area of Big Bend National Park. Journalist Luis Ramirez Reyes and his driver are traveling deep within the Chihuahuan Desert, en route to a biosphere research station.
It wasn't long before they realized they were lost. They started kind of panicking because they didn't know where to go. They hadn't seen anyone.
Then Luis notices something strange. 3 people wandering in the desert, seemingly oblivious to the heat and desolation. But when Luis orders his driver to stop, something bizarre happens. His driver can't see the 3 strangers.
They realized their situation was getting pretty bad. They hadn't brought any spare water, no spare food, and you don't want to be caught out in the desert without any provisions.
Then, suddenly, Luis catches sight of the 3 strangers again.
Lewis says, "Hey, why didn't you stop? Those people were back there." And he's like, I didn't see no people back there.
This time, Luis forces his driver to stop. He approaches the 3 strangers cautiously.
He noticed right away that they didn't look exactly normal. They were tall. They all 3 had blonde hair. They all had blue eyes.
¿De dónde mero vienen ustedes?
He asked where they were from, and they didn't say anything.
The driver is confused, witnessing a bizarre scene. Luis seems to be talking to thin air.
He sees him outside the vehicle. He sees him obviously communicating with someone with no one there. So he's probably thinking Luis has lost his mind.
Luis can't be sure if the strangers are real or a figment of his imagination. But then, he notices something even more alarming. The strangers are somehow projecting their thoughts directly into his mind.
He could sense their thoughts before they would even say anything. They were communicating directly with Luis via telepathy.
Even stranger, the three beings seem to know exactly where Luis is headed, and they tell him how to get there.
Now, his driver was questioning, what he was doing outside the vehicle. And he says, well, these individuals told us to go this way.
Luis's driver is skeptical, but the strangers' directions take them straight to the biosphere station. Are the three mysterious strangers the journalists saw real, or some sort of inexplicable mirage? If they do exist, why are they roaming Big Ben's harsh terrain? January 1962, deep inside the park, two hikers make an extraordinary discovery.
Pa, I found something.
When Donald and Charles went out that day looking for petroglyphs, they did not realize that what they would find would change their lives forever.
Big Bend National Park, Texas, is a desolate landscape that some believe has the power to pull objects out of the sky. Where reports of mysterious blonde strangers wandering the desert defy explanation. What can explain these mysteries, and could they be connected? January 1962. Charles Nichols and his stepson, Donald, are hiking near the hot springs area of Big Bend National Park. They're searching for petroglyphs, a form of prehistoric cave art the area is famous for. As they explore the park's monumental rock formations, Donald sees an opening in the face of a cliff.
Donald, for some reason, was kind of intrigued by this cliff that he saw that had all these crevices and cracks.
Now, Donald climbed up this rock face, and when he got up there, there was a small opening.
Donald cautiously enters the cave. But inside, there are no signs of petroglyphs. Then, something on the cave floor catches his eye. Fragments of what appear to be stone tablets.
He starts dusting them off and realizes there's symbols on them. These aren't just blank pieces of stone.
Pa, I found something.
They were really curious about these things that they had found. They thought that this was a really important discovery.
Once they got them down on the ground and dusted them off, they realized that they kind of fit together like a puzzle.
As the pieces come together, Donald and Charles realize they are looking at something even more astonishing. 13 lines of ancient script.
These guys have been there many times searching for petroglyphs, and this is something they've never seen.
Unsure of what to do next, the men call in a park ranger.
A park ranger, he goes, he looks at it. He has no idea what it is either, but he does tell them that it's not the type of things that any of the native Indians of the area had used. So he had asked if he could keep the tablets so that he could have them analyzed.
Is it heavy? Very. You give me a hand?
They agreed to leave the tablet with the park ranger, and he was going to try to research it further and see if he could find out where they came from and what their origins were.
Really want to thank you, man.
Little did Charles and Donald know that would be the last time they ever saw the tablet.
Weeks later, when they contact the ranger station for news about the tablets, they get a rude shock. The park ranger who came to their aid has been transferred, and the tablets have disappeared.
the ranger station, had not seen them, had not heard of them, and did not know where they were.
But Charles still has the photographs he took of the tablet. It's claimed that Charles Nichols sent them to Dr. Barry Fell of the Epigraphic Society to be deciphered. But it would be 3 years before shocking evidence would emerge of the tablet's origins. In 1965, near the town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, hundreds of witnesses report an unidentified flying object descending into a forest.
Residents noticed a light streaking across the sky. It was moving very fast, and they thought it was a meteorite until it slowed down and changed directions.
Witnesses who got close to the crash site reported seeing an acorn-shaped craft with inscriptions on its fuselage. Remarkably, some claim these inscriptions match those found on the Big Ben tablets. Does the Kecksburg incident prove that an alien race once visited the Big Bend area thousands of years ago? If so, why were they here? What is it about Big Bend that would attract visitors from another world?
They see a hole at the back of the cave, very unusual, perfectly round. Was it a natural occurrence, or was it something else?
Big Bend National Park is at the epicenter of a series of baffling incidents, where meteors and spacecraft fall from the sky. An ancient tablet hints at an alien presence, and strange beings come to the rescue of a lost journalist. Why does Big Bend seem to be a magnet for otherworldly activity? 1947. 2 hunters are in the hills of Big Bend National Park.
They see a mountain lion some distance away. They take a shot. So they climb up the mountain. You know, they're going to trail this lion. They're going to go ahead and get this kill. And they see the trail. They follow the trail into a box canyon.
The lion leads them into a tunnel deep inside the mountain. Somehow, the lion has escaped inside. But what they find there instead is stranger than anything they could have expected.
They see a hole at the back of the cave, perfectly round. It was unusual that a hole this round would be there. You know, they threw some rocks into the hole. Rocks bounced off the sides of the walls. Obviously, this was a very deep hole.
The mysterious shaft doesn't seem to be natural, but it can't be man-made. In 1947, the technology doesn't yet exist that could account for it.
The question is, how the heck did they do that? They didn't have lasers. They didn't have fancy devices that we have today. So it's a puzzle.
Could the answer be connected to the unusual Nordic-looking blondes that journalist Luis Ramirez Reyes found wandering in the desert?
But most of the time, the 3 blondes or Nordics, they're in places that, 1, humans are rarely there, and 2, they're in places to where there's evidence of possibly extraterrestrial mining.
Shockingly, it's believed an alien race may have come to Earth thousands of years ago and set up a secret mining operation to strip our world of precious metals.
That the Earth is the densest planet in the solar system. Well, that means there are more heavy metals here, really heavy metals here. They're rare in the universe.
Why would an alien race choose the area that now forms Big Bend National Park for its mining operation?
Big Bend is a rugged landscape full of geological wonders. There is representation here of many different kinds of rocks and minerals you find very scarcely in other places in the world.
The geology in the area is so unique, it can create magnetic interference that could explain the failure of the guidance system on the Athena missile. It could also account for the mysterious lights reported over the park. Big Bend is rich in a mineral called quartzite, and it's believed that under pressure, it can produce luminous bursts in the atmosphere.
There's no question that quartz is a weird mineral in terms of electrical properties that could cause strange effects.
Big Ben's unique geology has been a fascination for visitors from the ancient past, as much as for those who live in the area today. A remote and rugged land that, no matter how well understood, will always remain a mystery.
This place just gives you the sense that it's been here forever, throughout time. It really is a fantastic place.